Hello, this is Eric Miles with Seattle Christian Counseling, and today I am happy to introduce Rachel McKay and Andrew Ingstrom, and they are going to be talking about marriage and affairs. I hope you enjoy this message and really get something good from it.
Hi, I'm Rachel McKay,
And I'm Andrew Ingstrom.
and today we're gathering just to have a conversation a little bit about the challenges around sex and sexuality within a marriage. So, Andrew, I would love to hear kind of what you've seen.
Problems of sexuality in marriage. Typical problems that I run into mostly and just pervasively include a lack of communication about it. I think what I run into is where people have a lot of anxiety about sexuality. They've got a lot of desire for it. They have a lot of hurts between them in their history that impact their sexuality more than they know, usually. And usually even when they do know, it still impacts their sexuality in a way that's hard to talk about. So there's this element where everything that's happened in a marriage comes into the bedroom. And that's what you face. Not just, how do I turn him on? How do I turn her on?
Right.
Not just, how do we make this go just right and touch them right? And I actually will run into that as a marital problem where it's like, okay, what's the recipe to make sex happen? Because, and that's often what I'm hearing from guys, but it goes both ways, where the low desire partner is, in bed, and the high desire partner, or at least the one who wants to have sex tonight, will be like, so I reached over and I touched them and they moved my arm away. And I'm like, well, their eyes are closed, they're in bed, they're, if it were up to a recipe, there'd probably be a better one. And there are things that you can do that help, right? Just logistically. But it's in that conversation. And so usually what I'm seeing is people not talking about it. What are you seeing as problems?
Well, I would definitely agree that anxiety and the lack of communication is the undercurrent to a lot of these issues. And then maybe more a level up is that blame and, well, it's all them, or it's all me. I'm the one. I'm the problem, or they're the problem in our relationship. Either they are desiring sex too much, or I don't desire sex at all, or I desire it too much.
Blame diffuses anxiety.
And takes it off of me, or I take it all. Is what I see often within couples, which creates that imbalance that many couples come in saying, well, we're just not in sync, we're not in balance, they don't understand, I don't understand, and kind of cycles back down to that undercurrent of anxiety and lack of communication, of circling back around in those issues that...
Because communication is the vehicle right into your anxiety.
Right, absolutely.
Which is healing, but not as easy.
Absolutely, absolutely. So then, I'm looking at couples who come in at this point, and maybe they're aware of that anxiety and the disconnect that they're having that's flowing through their relationship, or maybe they're not. So, where do you begin when you come in with a couple and you're sitting with them, and maybe they're not even aware that this is what's going on in their relationship?
What I find in terms of doing therapy with the client, with a couple, is that moment you just broach the topic. Just the moment where you actually just talk about it. So how is your sex life? What about sexuality? So we've talked about this and this and this. Let's talk about how it's impacting your sex life. What's that look like? There's that moment where they go, who's going to talk first? There's that moment of, are we going to talk about this?
Right,
and
right.
that for
I
me,
see that very often also.
that's the most therapeutic. It's a lot less like, can we do it right, or what's the correct way to engage each other, and more is like, just do something, right? Anything is going to lead to the energy facing anxiety that gets you to cling to each other.
Absolutely. Well, and I don't know if this has been your experience, but often when I'm watching those interactions, it is tense and kind of uncomfortable as you're broaching that subject for the first time, and then slowly as they start to settle into it, it becomes more fluid and easier to talk about. And then whether that's several sessions down the road or within the same session, there's an ease that comes in the dynamic between the couple.
And I find fairly often it's actually pretty easy to get into the comfort zone with a client once you actually do it.
Right.
Which is my hope for people doing it with themselves in their own home. Tell me what you think about what healthy sexuality looks like in a marriage. What are the things you look for? Hallmarks.
Well, there are a number of things. Communication, since we just talked about that.
That's a good one. I like that.
And the awareness of the anxiety. Individual self-awareness.
Yeah.
I think that is a huge piece, because knowing yourself aids in knowing your partner.
Can you say more about that?
Oh, of course. So I often, when I'm working with couples, we'll be working around this issue, and it's the blame, and they're doing this, or I was just so frustrated, and then we go, well, where was that frustration coming from, or where did that come from for you? And there's either a big pause or an I don't know, and exploring that further really brings light to the relationship, and to
owning
the
their
individual.
own internal process,
and creates a space of compassion and grace between the
Sure.
two individuals to understand each other better, and builds that intimacy.
Yeah,
So-
totally. I can see that.
Well, what do you think in a quick few seconds? What are the hallmarks in your mind?
Biggest sense of health for me in sexuality is people willing to go into it and try it, right? And not necessarily we have to have sex 3 times this week, but a sense of we do want to engage this. Let's go for it.
Right.
And when somebody makes a bid, whether it's the hand on the shoulder or the do you want to make love tonight, and a conscious decision on the part of the other to be like, oh, well, accept this. I'll at least try it with you, and then we'll communicate and be honest. I feel nervous about it. I don't know how it's going to go, or something's happened, today, whatever. But just trying to jump into that together. And it leads to a lifetime of doing therapy with themselves, and hopefully a lifetime of healthy sexuality. Thank you very much, Rachel.
Thank you, Andrew.
Very enlightening.
I hope you've enjoyed the Seattle Christian Counseling educational production. You can find us online at seattlechristtiancounseling.com, or give us a call at 206-388-3929. Seattle Christian Counseling, professional help with faith-based values.